YouTube, it's your boy Kayman, and I'm back here with a brand new video. And in today's video, we'll be covering Game Week 6 Free-Hit Draft as well as Game Week 6 Wildcard Draft. I know a lot of you guys are wildcarding. I myself is going to be using the triple captaincy chip come Game Week 6 deadline on Erling Haaland. So yeah, the chips are flying. So without further ado, let's dive in. So at first, we're going to cover the Game Week 6 Wildcard Draft. As you guys can see, I'm starting with Petrovic at the back, along with Anderson, as well as Snes and Timber. To be honest with you, the fixtures for both Anderson as well as Timber are not ideal to start the whole game week. But at the end of the day, you're wildcarding for long term. So you can appreciate it is not a one game week wildcard. And this wildcard also takes into the fact that you potentially haven't used that bench boost yet. If you have used your bench boost, maybe you can save some money somewhere else, which I'll get into in later. And I'm also going with Aldrit as well as Richards. These are the 5 centre backs I'll be going with. Ultimately, this week, I think the defense is alright. It's not amazing. But again, long term, it will work out, as I said. And then in midfield, you got Reinders as well as Salah, Semenyo, and Mbeumo, and Caicedo, the DEFCON monster himself. And in the forward position, you have JP and the Earl of Norway as well as Foster. Obviously, the keeper combination, as I said, Petrovic as well as Dubravka. And the enablers that we have are Aldrit, which is a bit of a differential, by the way, from Sunderland. He's really good for DEFCON, and he also has a decent attacking threat, and I believe he's somewhat nailed as well. Ultimately, this draft enables you to bench boost in Game Week 8, where Sunderland play Wolves, where you can play Aldrit, as well as the fact that you got for example, Dubravka, who also has Leeds. So these are good promoted team fixtures, and you can also play your Bournemouth guys as well as your Arsenal boys. Ultimately, in this draft, you guys can see it's a Salah and a Haaland draft, and I'll be showing you guys a draft which does not include Salah. I know a lot of people are, obviously, the content creators are going without Salah this week, so I'll be showing you guys a draft without Salah as well. But there's not a big difference. Ultimately, if you don't have Salah and Haaland, it basically becomes Salah. Instead of Salah, it becomes either Bruno or an Mbeumo or a Saka, for example. And then whoever your budget striker is in a Foster becomes Gyökeres. That's what it is, essentially. If you're going to go with Saka, you potentially go with maybe an Isak. But again, I don't like that. I don't think he justifies the price, and we have not seen him hit the ground yet. Or maybe becomes another striker, potentially, but the striker market is a bit dry right now. We don't like Watkins, we don't like Mateta, we don't like all these strikers at the moment. Maybe it becomes a Bowen, but ultimately the difference is Salah / Foster versus Bruno and a Gyökeres, or an Mbeumo and a Gyökeres, or a Saka, or maybe a Isak or something like that. That's what it basically becomes. Now, is that worth backing against Mo, especially when you look at his fixtures from Game Week 8 onto Game Week 13, even beyond that? He does have very good captainable fixtures in 8 as well as in 9, where he does play United as well as Brentford. So I don't know if it's necessarily worth it going without Mo. And then this draft, I think only thing you're missing, as I said, you're missing an Arsenal attacker. But again, it's only one fixture that you might be losing out on. I think if you have a free hit, it may be worth considering free hit in Game Week 7. That's what I'm looking at personally myself, because I don't have any United attack as well as Arsenal attack. But overall, I do love this draft. And the main reason why I'm going with Salah Haaland drafts, ultimately, I think there's a lack of premium. Palmer being injured, Saka just coming back from injury. Maybe we'll see what Isak does. Maybe he becomes an option as well. But ultimately, I do think this does work in terms of captaincy rotation from now until Game Week 15, or until Salah goes to AFCON potentially. But again, if you don't like Salah, or you write him off, or you don't like his performances, I do have a draft for you guys for Game Week 6 wildcard without Salah. So for the no Salah draft, as you guys can see, the team is quite similar. I do have Petrovic as well as Senesi too. I think Petrovic is great value. Potentially, you could go for maybe Raya as well as Gabriel, double Arsenal defense, just to be a bit different, because everyone's going to have Arsenal D. But I just think there'll be too much money occupied in goal, especially if you want to get Salah back. It will be hard for you to put out the money from goalkeeper, because it's not really worth it to transfer a goalkeeper. Whereas if you can maybe sell Saka, or maybe sell Bowen or JP, as you guys can in the draft, potentially you can go back to Salah if he does well in Game Week 8 or 9. But overall, this draft does look really strong. I mean, you got Romero, Gabriel, Senesi, decent fixtures this week. You also have Semenyo, Mbeumo, Saka, Reinders, and DI, as well as JP, Haaland, and you also have Bowen, who's actually being benched this week because he's playing Everton, which you don't never want to bench. But who do you even start in this case? Maybe you should bench Saka, but again, he's such a good asset, and now that Madueke is injured, he potentially starts as well. I know a lot of people are going to say maybe you go with Gyökeres instead of Saka. I think that's perfectly fine as well. Maybe you go from Saka to another midfielder. Maybe you go for a Bruno Fernandes, but you already have Mbeumo. But maybe you go for a Liverpool mid like Gakpo. I don't know if that's worth it, but you can consider that. Or you can go for Enzo Fernandez. Potentially you go for, instead of Saka, go for Enzo Fernandez now that Palmer is out. And that way you can have Gyökeres, JP, Haaland combination with Enzo, as well as Reinders and Diane and Mbeumo and Semenyo midfield. I know a lot of people don't obviously like the fact that I preferred Mbeumo ahead of Bruno, because everyone loves Bruno and pens and whatnot. He's got a lot of rooster points, don't get me wrong, but I still think Mbeumo probably has a higher ceiling in terms of where the position is playing, although he doesn't have pens, but he does have some set pieces as well. Semenyo is template, of course, and I think Saka has a bit of a differential and a bit of an edge. So yeah, let me know what you guys think of both Salah and Haaland draft. And now let's move into my free hit for Game Week 6. So here's the Game Week 6 free hit draft. I'm starting with Petrovic as well as Guardiola, Senesi and Van de Ven. They all have great fixtures playing what they're playing promoted teams. I'm doubling up on Bournemouth because I do think there's a good chance that they keep a clean sheet. Worst case, Senesi would get a DEFCON. He also has a great attacking potential. And Guardiola is a bit of a differential. He's only 3.9% owned. Van de Ven is quite template, but again, he's got really good fixtures. So I do like this back line. And then you have in midfield Reinders as well as Mo Salah and Semenyo and Mbemo. I know some of you might not like the Mo Salah pick, but I still think you could do well versus Palace, especially when they're going to be leggy a bit when they're playing the Conference League game. So I think Salah could do well. And I don't know if you want to back against Mo when he's going to be still quite highly owned. So yeah, Salah and Semenyo a bit template. Maybe you can take one of them. I'll probably take on Semenyo if I had to pick one. But ultimately, Semenyo's playing a promoted team. It's not ideal. But overall, I do like this team, as you can see with Reinders as well as Mbemo. And I also think Richarlison, who's got Wolves at home, is a bit of a somewhat differential as well. JP is template, Haaland is template. But ultimately, there are some spicy picks in there like Guardiola as well as Richarlison we can edge out. Just keep in mind, guys, you are free hitting. Ultimately, you're playing defense this week, so it is hard to bet against a lot of these template guys. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of this free hit draft as well as the wildcard draft I showed you earlier. Make sure to leave a comment down below. Make sure to subscribe and tune into my deadline stream. And I'm going to see you on the next one. Peace out.